Hi, welcome back to Keep It Dirty, a podcast where my guests share their life living functionally and sustainably and the why behind their experiences navigating through our ever changing environment. I am your host, Leslie Dowling. I'm a functional nutrition and lifestyle practitioner and also speaker. And today, this podcast is all about pushing the envelope for 2026. Not being too risky or radical, but evoking conversation and questioning, navigating our life through a different lens to try to be more aware of really what's going on and changes that is having a profound effect on the human race. So, what I was doing is today I was walking my dog, and when I'm exercising or being out in Mother Nature, I usually have all these great ideas for my podcast and things that I really want to speak into, which is the art of practicing our voice and getting and relaying information out to the world. And that was about 5 or 6 years ago when I thought to myself, after just living a clean, healthy lifestyle and just really taking a deeper dive onto wanting to know how basically the physiology of the body and all the different parts of what's going on with this beautiful body that we have been given. I wanted to really go back to school. So I did. And so this really is all about just navigating through our ever changing environment, along with trying to be more aware of what's going on with our bodies going forward. So it's going to be a different year for Keep It Dirty. We'll be pushing the envelope, like I said, in 2026, bringing on guests that have different perspectives on listening to their own voice and beating to their own drum, making changes on our planet. Some of the questions I'll be addressing going into my fourth season on Keep It Dirty, and also my first podcast called Generation Foundation. So I don't think many people know that I have two podcasts. About 5 years ago, I had just this amazing conversation over the years with my middle son. And we were really passionate about what's going on with the environment, how we can make changes, how we can be active in our community with organizations to clean up the waters and having a voice here in our community to create awareness, to be able to not also with living sustainably, but also just starting to exercise and being proactive with what we're putting in our mouths and just eating a little bit more cleaner and really just getting back to what Mother Nature provides. So we decided to start a podcast called Generation Foundation, which was started 5 years ago, and really getting the perspectives of Gen X versus Gen Z. So I'm a Gen X. My three sons are Gen Zs. My middle son is a Gen Z. He's 24. And it's really fascinating how we are hardwired very differently than other generations. So the Gen Zs, I feel, are sometimes they get like a bad rap with, oh, they're always on their laptops, they're always on their computers, they're, yada, yada with the technology. But at the end of the day, Gen Zs are very entrepreneurial. They have so many advantages that my generation had, where they have everything at their fingertips to how do we start a business? And especially with AI, you can really find out just factors on how we can build ourselves in our careers with just different strategies on starting a business and so much more. So it's like the sky's the limit. I think back in last year, back in the wintertime, the New York Times had an article about that social media, technology, and everything that we're going through. AI is like the wild, wild west. So we're all trying to figure it out. We're all shifting gears to try to figure out this whole mecca of content creators and social media, which we didn't have 30 years ago. So it's really interesting to see how these Gen Zs are solopreneurs. They're really into being more eco-conscious and creating more sustainability with zero waste in net zero waste when it comes to repurposing, reusing materials, which is awesome and very more, I would say, much more conscious than my generation. So, the other thing that I really love about the Gen Zs is compared to years ago, we were basically, a lot of people were prisoners behind their desks. We felt that we had to live and die for getting our foot into one business, say in corporate life, and just putting the 30 years into the one business that we're working in. That has shifted and changed dramatically. I know years ago, people would look down upon people that were in organizations for less than 5 years. And now people are starting their own businesses. They're not feeling that they owe a company anything to have to stay more than 5 years. A lot of people shift and move after 1 year. A lot of young people are just starting their own business. So it's really interesting when you take a step back and you see what's going on with our environment, with our world, with the younger generations, and how much more confident they are. So, really, my commitment and drive to my podcasting is really the why behind why am I podcasting. And it really comes down to the years of just doing what I do with exercise and going back to school, educating myself, and really giving tips, tools, and strategies for people to live functionally, and also to have really interesting guests on my show from all over the world, globally. So, my idea when I was going through school is making those connections with my fellow alumni from all over the world and having a lot of them on my show because everybody has different walks of lives. A lot of people have different schooling with their medical background or psychology or physical therapists that wanted to really learn the way that Andrea Nakayama taught. She was the founder of the school when I went there, and it really is just meeting people where they are at. And for each individual person to be the hero of taking control of their lifestyle. And nobody has, this thought of a quick fix, this thought of we need to lose that weight. We didn't really take a deep dive in diet, lose weight at all. I personally feel that diet should be taken out of our whole language and to really look at our life as shifting gears a little, just like when we started working. We didn't get to be at a level that we would be in a position of authority when we had to start at the foundation of going up the ranks, learning, educating. And so our mindset there wasn't when I start working after college or not, going to college, I'm going to be the president. No, you knew that it would take years of just learning and educating and creating that wisdom for whatever you do in life. And that is exactly the way you should look at your health. Because where you got to where you are today, say if you have an acute illness, this has taken years to get to. So my way of looking through a different lens is take time to take those layers of that onion off of dysbiosis, of unhealthiness, and start really getting to the core of, as functional health practitioners say, the muddy waters, to get to the core of what's going on with your health. Because unfortunately, autoimmune illness is on the rise, and we are becoming so compromised as a society. So we really need to take a step back, reevaluate, start, and I always say this, journaling, really taking a look at what we are ingesting into our bodies, morning, noon, at night. Are we tracking and assessing? Are we getting enough water? What are we feeling after we eat certain foods? Say morning, you have eggs or you have oatmeal or something that might trigger you to have discomfort, indigestion, or if you have a lot of refined sugars that you don't realize through the day, you're having foods that are highly processed, so ultra processed and processed foods that are not real food. And that can create inflammation. It could create dysbiosis. It can create also not getting enough sleep, and it can cause depression. So you really have to start tracking what we're putting in our mouths, what we're putting on topically too. What kind of lotions and makeup are we putting on? If you look at some of these body lotions, just try to get as clean a product as possible so you can not end up with a cesspool in your gut with so many chemicals that can offset our hormones too. So I know I'm throwing a lot of things out, and I'm going to back it up, and I'm just going to say start slow and start really becoming more aware. If you want changes in your life, if you want to feel more balanced and healthy, you need to start somewhere. Start going into the supermarkets, start reading the labels, stay out of the middle lanes, stay on the outer lanes, because that's where your fruits and vegetables, meats, and healthier products are. In the middle of the aisles, if you notice, most of the American supermarkets in the US, it's all the ultra processed foods, packaged foods. So if you can't pronounce what's in the food you're eating, probably you should stay away from that. So that's my biggest number one tip of the day. So going forward, we're going to see a lot more interesting guests on my show that really push the envelope and are doing things that are really out there, different, but are also helping the planet thrive and survive, for us to thrive and survive. Because without the planet thriving and surviving, how are we going to do well and be healthy? So just take a step back, look at the big picture, start educating yourself. I love listening to some of my favorite podcasts are Keep It Dirty, is some of the functional medicine doctors are amazing, like Dr. Mark Hyman. He is really well-versed. He is well-respected throughout the world, and he makes a lot of sense, and he simplifies all of his schooling in layman's terms as to what's going on with our body. He actually also expresses concern, like I do, of our soil, how we are nutrient deplete. And I look at it as a domino effect. If the soil is deplete, a lot of us are deplete in our nutrients, our minerals, our vitamins. And so what happens is whatever is grown in Mother Earth, in the soil that has been radiated with glyphosate and chemicals over the years, our food is not going to taste the same. It's not going to have the same nutrients. And also, a lot of us are dealing with mental health issues. So vitamin D, magnesium, a lot of these nutrients that we took advantage of years ago thinking, okay, well, we got to be healthy if we're just eating whole foods. You could be eating whole foods, but make sure that the food is certified organic, and make sure that you go annually and get blood work and see what your vitamin D levels are, and make sure your hormones are in balance. So food is medicine, and then Dr. Mark Hyman says that, and so many other very well-versed functional medicine doctors and practitioners. So food is medicine. Start eating whole food. Start making sure it's organic. I do believe in certain supplementation because of the fact that our foods are so deplete in nutrients. They don't even taste the same. The more that things are stripped from foods, the more they basically taste like cardboard. So people put on a lot of sugar and a lot of salt. So it's a vicious cycle. And we have to get back to simplifying our lifestyle when it comes to health and wellness. So I hope that everybody has an amazing holiday. And for 2026, for Keep It Dirty, please rate, review, subscribe, support this podcast, because I'm getting a lot of people that will be speaking into their gift of helping others create awareness on lifestyle shifts and changes that are attainable, that are easy, and it doesn't cost a lot of money when you start making changes in your lifestyle, simplifying your life for 2026, and also Generation Foundation. I'll be doing more podcasting with my son, Nick Dowling, who is a lieutenant in the Army, stationed in Schofield Base in the 25th Infantry in Honolulu. So we'll be discussing a lot of interesting topics of what he's doing, the life of a lieutenant, and also how he keeps clean, healthy. What are some of his tips on the different types of training that he does to keep in shape, and so much more. And again, I want to thank everybody for listening to my podcast. I hope you guys have a wonderful new year. I'm hoping I'm going to be getting another podcast in next week, but if I don't, I'm wishing everybody a happy new year. And also check out Generation Foundation, which is also on Apple, Spotify, and also on different platforms that you'll see on LinkedIn, Facebook. And with that, remember to ground with Mother Earth and try to keep it dirty. Take care.